We won't have predictions for this match just because we're jumping in to game number 2. And here we go. We're looking to conclude round 1 of the group stage, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Crimson Court, we have the American Terran player, the Red Terran, representing the Cranky Ducklings, as he is one of our own, one of our own. It is Dolan. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the yellow Zerg player, representing Team Nova X. It is TooTall, aka 2 Mews in the bracket. Sorry, 2 Meows. The cat versus the duck. Oh no. Look away. Doesn't bode well for the duck, not gonna lie. Stay away, baby, stay away. But Dolan is leading the series 1-0. Again, they were playing out their series or their first game while we had our own match ongoing. And now we're jumping into game number 2. Oh my, all the emotes. Aye. But we are settling in. Once again, I'm not too familiar here with our Zerg player, but I'm more than happy to be introduced to 2 Meows. Oh, the cheese! The mouse. I think I just said the emotes, Papi. Oh no. What's going on? TMI, Papi, TMI. What have you eaten? Oh, that's nice. That's pleasant. They're playing music in the bathrooms. Oh my god. Look away. TooTall may be getting a little bit too excited in the main base. We're all good. For now, Hatchgas Pool, standard opener. Going over the game, Hatchgas Pool, standard opener here out of our Zerg player. Likewise, Rax Expand out of Dolan. Nothing too crazy. No cheese, no aggression, no proxy. We're just easing our way into game number 2. Not too familiar with what happened in the first game, but for now, everything's looking as it should. Dolan is known for his crazy aggressive builds, but especially in this matchup, we should be seeing some more standard play out of Dolan. Not afraid to embrace and whip out the mech at times, that is true. So we'll keep an eye out for that. For now, the first Reaper gets across the map, and the Lings are here in position. Gonna be able to zone the Reaper away. One Ling will go down. Ooh, Dolan going for the drones. But good control from our Zerg player. We do pull away, and the drones are kept safe and sound. So far, so good. Oh! Queen is coming in. The Reaper getting a little bit frisky, but we will back off. We will retreat. Oh! Yeah, Dolan not being too greedy does back off. Meanwhile, we're loading into Crimson Court. This is one of the features of this map, is this mineral wall. We have a mineral wall here right next to the natural base. We can mine through and gain access to a very safe third location. Oh my god, meanwhile, that is a very fast lair. That's a 3-minute lair timing. TooTall. What do we have in store for us here? Okay, you have my attention. Reaper does dive into the main base, but is going to be shut down. So far, good control. And up, the Reaper does fall without the scouts. Checking the vision here of Dolan. We have not seen the lair. We have not seen the tech. Second gas on the way. Now, this could be for a Nidus-based all-in. This could be for maybe additional gases and 2-base muta. I mean, the fact that we're mining through these minerals to expand and take a third base tells us that maybe we're not expanding anymore. Never mind. We pulled away from the mineral line. There we go. Roach Warren's on the way. And with this fast lair, we could rush towards Roach speed. We could go for something like Dropper Lords. Meanwhile, we're getting into, oh my god, not just Banshees, but that is a Fusion Core. BCs? We could do one of two things. We can go into BCs, or we can double down on, I was going to say Hyperflight Rotors, but I believe you don't need the upgrade for that. So yeah, Battle Cruiser should be on the horizon. Meanwhile, it's going to be mutas. Okay, 2-base muta out of TooTall. I mean, 2 is in the name. True. TooTall for 2 bases. 2-base muta. Okay, it all makes sense. Checks out. Interesting choice here. It's risky. It's very risky going for 2-base muta. Obviously, the goal here is to preserve our gas. Just hold on to our gas and make sure we can try to get away with this greed. Try to make as many mutas as possible. Meanwhile, Hellions have arrived. So far, so good. The Queens are holding their own. A nice hold position micro here from the Zerg player. Does wall up. And the problem, because of this map, because of the layout, Dolan, for all he knows, we've expanded, right? He saw the drone mining earlier. He saw that TooTall was working towards an expansion, and we can't really scout and check, not without an airbase unit or not without a scan. So for all Dolan knows there could be an expansion here. There could be a third base. Meanwhile, we don't really care. We're just working towards our BC. Battlecruiser's on the way. We have our third CC in production as well. Spire is about to finish. Now, when it comes to this Spire, if we were aware of the BCs, we could rush into Corruptors. Mutas can be okay, as we're embracing mech. BC, we mentioned mech earlier. BC into mech. Let's go. Dolan is going to be embracing this style, and against one BC, the Mutas, they could bring it down. They could go toe-to-toe with it, but once the BC count gets higher, the Mutas are that much less effective. I'm curious how this turns out. Bearing in mind we have limited anti-air. Because it's mech, there are no Marines, but we do have Cyclones. Cyclones have arrived, BC's on the way. The Banshee does confirm that the third base just started. So Dolan should be aware. There we go. He scans the main base. He misses the tech. He misses the Spire. And Mutas are coming in. Mutas are on the way. Dolan, he did miss this. And he's not ready for this. Workers are going to be going down. We do have those Cyclones. They're going to be targeted. First Cyclone does fall. The repairs are not going to be good enough. Cyclones go down. BC has made it back home. And now we get damage done. SCVs are falling left and right. We get 3. We get almost 4 workers. 3 SCVs is okay. TooTall trying to avoid that BC. Getting a 4th SCV. Heading towards the natural. Getting a 5th. A 6th and a 7th. And this is starting to rack up. 10 SCVs. Not bad. 12 workers go down. Dolan, he's stuck back at home. The one downside here is that, sure, we killed a lot of workers, and actually, I was going to say that our base counts, we just got into our third base, but TooTall has been droning. That's a lot of workers. We're up to 63 drones. Mutas, they head into the main. The mine shots! Ooh, massive, oh my god! Massive connection since the Mutas did stack. Ay, 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 and that's going to cost us every single Muta. 2 Mutas, they barely do survive. But very nice positioning there by Dolan. Does shut the Mutas down. Behind this, we're expanding, of course. We're saturating the third base, but the BCs can now reign free. Now we can move out. There's not that many Mutas to keep the Terran army pinned back at home. As we're embracing Hurricane engines, Blue Flame. BCs are moving out, finally. And I believe, yeah, they do have Yamato. Yamato is done for Dolan, and this move out, it's gonna hit like a truck. Back at home, we have been droning quite heavily. We barely have an army to work with. Looking at the army size, we have 6 Roaches, 2 Mutas, 9 Lings. We need an army. There we go. Corruptors and Roaches are on the way. At the same time, Ling Runway does distract Dolan. Dolan, he turns around. He's racing back home. SCVs are going down. We get another 4 SCV kills. TooTall, he's becoming too much. Dolan races back into his main, is stuck at home, and this means that back at home, TooTall is able to get away with his economy. Gotten up to 3 bases, forces the recall, forces the teleport. And Dolan's now in a rough position here. We're stuck at home, we have to try to catch up, try to saturate our third base, and I would love to see a double expansion. TooTall is taking a 4th, I would not mind seeing like a 5th base from here, double expanding, taking up, being greedy. This is a bit much though, as yeah, TooTall, he does get caught out. Yeah, bleeding out Corruptors, bleeding out Roaches. The rest of his army has arrived though. Not bad with my connections. But the Cyclones are getting picked off. But we're running out of Corruptors here. Without Corruptors, the BCs, they can clean everything else up. At the same time, we did have a run by Roaches into the mineral line. 12 more SCVs going down, and Dolan's getting picked apart. Yeah, maybe having a little bit too much fun early on and just wasn't able to confirm what was going on. Roaches in the main, Roaches at the third, 18 SCV kills. Ay, ay, ay. And Dolan will eventually recover. I mean, hey, we've got triple CC, we've got triple mule production. Speaking of, the mule hammer has been thrown down. But again, the Zergclair can get away with so much. We're droning up to 80 at this point. Full base saturation. We're taking all of our gases. Hive is on the way. And we're incorporating spellcasters. I would love to see investors, neural being researched as well. What I'm a little bit concerned by, if I'm not mistaken, our upgrades are a little bit lacking. We've got 1-1. We haven't yet begun 2-2 or any further upgrades yet. Likewise, no Adrenal, but we're getting there. Right now, we're more focused with just building up an army, and I mean, TooTall, looking good, looking strong. Dolan struggling a little bit here, especially because we're playing mech. We just don't really have much of an army to work with. We're just stuck at home. If we ever move out, we're vulnerable to another run-by, right? Another run-by, another counterattack. Dolan just can't move out, and you know what that means? We could be here for a while. we could. Oh, we don't teleport in time. First BC does fall. And Dolan may just have to embrace, I'm referring to like a slower turtley mech style, you know, turrets, sensor towers, tanks, planetaries. But before we can get there, TooTall is about to max out. Yeah, walling across the map. Cyclones are trading well for themselves. Tanks are sieging. And there's no Ravagers behind this. But we're getting on top of the tanks. The first one goes down, the second and the third. And the fungal does graze the army. And these are solid trades here for TooTall. Breaks through the defensive line, gets onto another tank. The BC falls. And TooTall, he's just snowballing out of control at this point. We can file down or even caustic spray down the base. More SCVs falling. And behind this, TooTall can just remax. We can just remax, rebuild. There's nothing slowing the Zerg player down. We are muling. It's true. We barely hold on. We barely survive. We clean up the roaches. But again, it's going to be an uphill battle here for Dolan. We've got a lot of catching up to do. And I'm loving this from TooTall. We're taking up even further. Now we get 2-2 on the way. Now we have a greater spy for Broodlords. Hydra Den just in case we want to work towards something like Hydra Lurker. I wouldn't really advise Lurker play against mech, but I mean, with this kind of economy, we can do whatever we want. We can get away with a lot here. TooTall even taking the base right next to Dolan. Bold move. Bold move is what I will say. There are other safer bases to expand to, but sure, why not? This could even be a bit of a staging ground for the Broodlords. Like, with this base being taken, we can spread creep towards the third base of Dolan, throw down Spore Crawlers, throw down Spine Crawlers as well, morphing the Broodlords. And speaking of, there they come! The Broodlords are on the way! Oh, he knows, Papi. And Dolan, once again, he's got a lot of catching up to do here. I mean, sure, we've got a line of tanks again, we've got Cyclones. This is going to be good against a Roach-based army. But what about Broodlords? Right, it's like, what about a Sky Zerg army here? We need Vikings, we need Ghosts, we need BCs, we need something that shoots up. Not tanks. We have some Cyclones, sure, but yeah, the Broodlords, they reveal themselves. TooTall has not been resting on his laurels. Has been taking up. Cyclones are trying to dive forward, but again, they just cannot close the distance. Not onto Broodlords. And here we go, TooTall coming in from behind. We get a Ling run right here towards the natural. And Roaches on the right-hand side as well. And what can Dolan do? Like, what's the answer to the Broodlords? Thors are on the way, but yeah, we lose control of the natural base. Broodlords pushing forward. We collapse on top of the tanks. And despite this army, Dolan, he just can't do much against this. GG gets called, and TooTall will make a series out of this. TooTall takes game number 2. GG. Whew. We're going to the ace match. GG, well played. We're going all the way to game number 3 here. Again, a crazy opener out of TooTall. As a reminder of winding it all back, TooTall, he kind of faked out a third base. Specifically because of this map, it's hard to confirm whether or not there even is a third. So TooTall just started mining. He pulled back, stayed on 2 bases, rushed into a lair, rushed into 2-base Muta, and remember, didn't get scouted. The Spire was missed, the lair was missed as well, and Dolan was in the dark. Because of that, wasn't ready for the Mutas and wasn't ready for the follow-up either. Really, we rolled the dice a little bit. We rolled the dice, and yeah, it all lined up for TooTall. GG. GG, well played. With that, we're going all the way to game 3. Oh boy, and it would be rough here if it were to go in the way of TooTall, but also like a pretty big win here for him, and I'd be happy for him as well to take a series. You know, of course, Dolan's my boy, but hey, you know, it's a group stage. We can bounce back. I want to believe we can. We'll see. We'll see how this story ends. We'll see where this takes us as our players are getting ready for the ace match. They are getting ready. Meanwhile, this is the final series of the rounds. I believe we've wrapped up with all the other matches. And this is the only series going to the ace match as well. The only one. The only one. Here we go. Now again, we missed out on what happened in game 1, but game 2 was very interesting. It was very stylistic as well. Trying to rush into 2-base muta, I don't think is going to be as successful on some of these other maps. We're going to be loading into side Delta. A much larger map, much more wide open. Trying to get away with that kind of hidden tech is going to be more difficult. What I will say though, is specifically on this map, 2-base play is favored a little bit more. You won't be able to hide your build anywhere near as well, but because of the ramp coming into the natural, it's much more defendable, easier to wall off. So something like roach play or a committed roach push is something that I can definitely see working here from the side of Zerg. We'll see though. We'll see what TooTall is fond of. We'll see what he tries to embrace as we're getting into the ace match. It all ends here. It all ends on side Delta. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of side Delta, we have our American Terran player. The red Terran representing the Cranky Ducklings being forced into the ace match. Can he bounce back? It is Dolan. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the yellow Zerg player from Land of the Americas going for a 15-15. Interesting. Representing Nova X, it is TooTall. You don't often see 15-15 openers here in this matchup, so I'm curious as we should be going for yep another extractor trick. So it's going to be a 15 hatchery into a 15 spawning pool. You see this more commonly against Protoss players. Against Terran, this is actually ideal against 2-Rax Reaper, and we are setting up for 2-Rax Reaper from Dolan. Okay, TooTall, he's popping off. Let's go. So what I'm referring to, the opener here from TooTall is very safe. It's very safe. The reasoning why it's so safe is because we get a fast hatchery into a faster spawning pool. We delay our gases. That's the downside. The downside of this build is that gases are delayed, which means Ling speed is delayed. But we get earlier queens. Earlier queens come out, so against something like 2-Rax Reaper, which is exactly what Dolan is going for, we should be able to defend quite well against this and minimize our losses. With earlier queens, these Reapers won't get anywhere near as much damage done. Now what Dolan can do with this is delay the third. And contain TooTall on 2 bases. The other important thing that's going on here is that TooTall has yet to take a gas geyser. So this looks like a gasless opener here by TooTall. Not just a 15-15, but a very delayed gas. Usually this means that we skip Ling speed entirely, and when we take our gases, we go into roaches. So we mentioned how roach play was, I would say, a little bit more favorable or maybe easier to get into on this map just because of the layouts. Looks to be the case here for TooTall. Meanwhile, Reapers are moving out. Now, this shouldn't be mass Reaper. This should be, I want to say 3, maybe 4 Reapers at most. Then we expand and build up towards a 2-on-1. This could build up towards 3CC 2-on-1. I'm curious what our next building structure is going to be here for Dolan as Reapers do get across the map. Ooh, that is the 3rd Rax. Okay. Aggression. The Reaper gets across the map, doesn't get much done. Again, we have the queen already done. We have Lings out as well. What I will say is that usually with a 15-15, we would skip these Lings and defend only with queens just to drone up a little bit harder. So TooTall just being extra safe with these Lings, just being secure. So we even did move out across the map. We have our follow-up, and we're getting into... This isn't a 2-base all-in, but hyper-aggressive. What I'm referring to, it isn't just 2-Rax Reaper, that is a 3rd and 4th Rax on the way. It's going to be a 2-base 4-Rax by a push. We have a 4-Rax. Oh boy. That's going to be a lot of Marines. A lot of Marines is going to be a very strong stim timing. Now, the way this works is that this hits without medevacs. Again, there's no factory, there's no starport, no medevacs. We're going to have a lot of Marines, and this is a bit of a double-edged sword. What this means is that every stim counts. We won't have any medevacs to sustain our army. Every stim is going to be hurting the bio army here at the push of Dolan, so we have to preserve those stims, we have to make them count, we cannot waste them when we go for our push. Meanwhile, back at home, roach production. Roaches are on the way, the Reapers are still being an annoyance. The goal of these Reapers, deny the third. Deny the third base for as long as we can, contain TooTall on 2 bases, and TooTall is investing in link speed. Interesting. So once again, TooTall playing it safe is making sure he has links to work with. At the pro level, usually this is skipped just because we're not really going to be using links too much because we're embracing roaches, but regardless, TooTall just, wants to play it out safely here. Reapers go for the scout, they confirm link speed is on the way, and they get a drone as well, not bad. We're scouting for a lair, scouting for gases, we confirm there is no extra gas, there is no lair. Reaper goes down, lair just now begins, and Dolan will not... Oh, there we go, he confirms. Dolan does confirm the lair and does confirm the roaches. So Dolan is aware of the army composition, backs the hell off, unable to delay the third any longer, but the third base did take quite some time to really get going. So a nice delay nonetheless, and that bio army, it's getting larger and larger. Now from the side of Zerg, we haven't scouted the main base. This is concerning. I mentioned before, this could be a 3cc 2-on-1. It could be an economic follow-up with a fast third. It could be a 2-on-1 with factory into starport into drop play. Or it could be this. It could be a 4-axe, right? It could be either 3 of those or even more variations. And TooTall doesn't know. TooTall is playing blind. He at least sees all the Marines, and that will give him a bit of a tell. So he is thankfully making safety roaches. But he doesn't know how committed this is. That's the big problem here for TooTall. As he is somewhat droning up, and if he drones up too much, that could be the end of him. We have an infestation bit on the way. We are teching up. This could be for safety infestors. That I would not be against. In this kind of position, because we have no Ling Bane, the bio army is going to hit so hard that fungal growth will be pretty impactful. Lings do slip in. 3 SCVs go down. Oh boy, but that's a lot of Marines. That's a lot of man with gun. Stim has completed. And what do we have to defend? We have how many roaches? 11. 11 roaches. Queens are coming forward as well. With some clutch transfuses, I think we can hold on. There we go, we stim in. We stim on forward, we focus out roach after roach. They're falling one after the other. We do get a transfuse, but without the marauders, it looks like we have just enough. I say that reinforcements are coming in, and we hold. TooTall does hold on. It was a costly trade. You can see here 10 roaches went down, 8 lings, an overlord for 22 marines. And we survived. Now behind this, Dolan was not all in, 3rd CC's on the way, but that was committed. And honestly, that needs to get more damage done. Ideally, this gets into a mineral line and kills drones, or resets the queen count. We needed a little bit more damage here, just because of how late our 3rd base is. 3rd CC should be being landed by now, and it's not done. 3rd base isn't done. A TooTall hive is on the way. Safety infestors are in production as well for those fungal growths. And honestly, I really like the Zerg's position here. It's not too bad. Like, our tech is looking nice, our economy is looking better than that of the Zerg, sorry, of the Terrans, which is what's important. Sure, the 3rd base was delayed, but it's up and running. And from here, we can even take a 4th, which we're about to. So, TooTall looking strong, looking solid. Behind this, Dolan's still building up. And he is working towards what looks to be a tank push here. This time with medevacs. So he has more support, he can sustain himself. The pressure is now on Dolan to be active. To be active on the map. This I'm not too fond of. We have an Ultra Cavern on the way. Interesting. Okay, I was about to say that if we had range upgrades, this wouldn't be ideal, but we actually have only 1 Evo chamber with carapace upgrades instead. First fungal does connect. Oh, the chain fungal! We catch out the Marines. A full medevac goes down. Should say a full medevac worth of Marines go down. And TooTall is defending, is holding. Dolan going to be reinforcing with 2 more medevacs. Now, these ultras are going to be interesting. I say that just because, sure, they have some carapace upgrades, but no melee upgrades, and no kind of splitting yet either. So it feels like these ultras are a little bit premature. We're already building them before we invest into any ultra upgrades whatsoever. Bold move here by the Zerg. It means that these ultras are going to be quite squishy, actually. Going to be quite fragile, more so than usual. Drop comes in, 4 drones go down. Not bad. We get an Overlord as well, or even a Queen. Jumping back into the main. At the same time, Dolan pushing in towards the third base. Multi-pronged attack here, and Dolan is pulling TooTall apart. Dusk got the ultras. Ultras, they pop out just in time. Meanwhile, the drop on the right-hand side takes down 14 workers. Almost a full mineral line. 14 drones go down. Looks like that is going to be triggering a counterattack, but remember, again, these ultras are not ideal here. Can we break through? Bunkers are on the way. Drop comes back in, and drones are going down. We're forcing the push. Yeah, TooTall is committed. Bunkers are not complete. But do the ultras have enough support? Yeah, first tank is going to go down. Nice split here by Dolan. Yeah, the ultras are going to be melting. Meanwhile, across the map, yeah, drones are falling left and right. TooTall is all in. And the ultras are going down. Yeah, they're 1-0 ultras. GG gets called, and Dolan defends. He cripples the economy, and Dolan will take the series 2-1. GG. GG, well played. Dolan does take the series, but a shout out to TooTall because he did not look bad whatsoever. And even here in game 3, I was favoring TooTall coming into the mid game. Like, TooTall, he had a solid economy, he had some nice tech with the Hive. I wasn't fond of the ultras, I'll be honest. I wasn't too fond of that decision to invest into ultras just because they were lair tech ultras, or like not even. They had that +1. That's all they had. They had +1 carapace. +2 wasn't even done by the end of the fight. So yeah, an odd choice to invest into that. And the other big downside of this army composition of going Ling Roach Ultra, none of it shoots up. Specifically, none of it can really deal with the drop play that was going on, and Dolan took full advantage of TooTall, just pulling him apart left and right, dropping into the main, dropping into the third, dropping into the fourth, pulling apart the Zerg player, unable to deal with those metavacs, and forced the all-in the end. Forced an all-in that we didn't necessarily have to go into if we were more defensive, and GG. GG, well played, but a shout out to TooTall, because again, didn't look too bad here. I definitely see potential in TooTall, and I wish TooTall the best of luck in the upcoming matches and in the upcoming rounds. GG. GG, well played. With that, we can have a look at the bracket. Let's calm things down and switch on over. Let us have a look, as it looks like the bracket has been seeded. Exclamation mark B. Oh, I got you. Hold on. Exclamation mark B in the chat to have a look at the bracket yourselves. And we have that second round. Oh my god, some of the big names are facing off. Dolan versus Starkiller. We have Epic versus Creature, Rob versus Disrespect, and Paradessa versus TooTall. Okay, likewise, we also have Chelsea Fan versus Okraut, Gloopglorp versus Hanmin, and NJW Boom versus Shmubdub. Interesting names. Interesting names. So best of luck to everyone. We have a choice to make. Honestly, I'm looking at these 3 matches. I'm looking at Dolan versus Starkiller, Epic versus Creature, and Rob versus Disrespect. Really good matches. Really good matches coming up here. Part of me wants to jump on Dolan versus Starkiller. Not gonna lie. Dolan versus Starkiller looks like a lot of fun. Epic versus Creature looks really good as well. Rob versus Disrespect. Yeah, we have to make a choice. We have to make a choice. I'm catching up. Catching up in the chat. Oh, speaking of, I do see NJW Boom in the chat. Hello, hello, welcome, welcome. Get that, go my stats. Yeah, we may just... I feel like Dolan versus Starkiller is going to be a short series. I'm getting that feeling. I'm getting that vibe. May just jump on him here. me just jump on him. Let's quickly have a look. Let's try to find our players. Try to find our players here. But yeah, some really good matches going on. A shout out to Bel Air as well. For those who are unaware, Bel Air is casting in German, is casting in the German language over on his own Twitch channel. So we do have 2 streams going on, English stream and a German stream. We will try to spread out. We'll try to spread out and cover as much ground as we can. And it sounds like Bel Air is going to be covering NJW Boom and Shmubda. There you go. As we are going to be, I guess, going on a short break. Okay, we're going to be going on a short break. Our players, they need a little bit of time to set things up, so we can actually take a moment here to even spy on them a little bit on that clean feed. So we'll be back soon. We'll be back in a couple of minutes with Dolan versus Starkiller. See you then.